Good evening, Sweetwater One. This is Kelly McGovern. I'm your superintendent. I welcome you back if you joined us with our first session. We had a little glitch, and so we were a great example of when things screw up, you got to just keep on trying. But I think we're up and running again. So if you're joining us for a second time, welcome back. Or if this is your first time, we're glad that you took some time to join with us this evening. The second session is really about general ed, and what we're interested in is hearing from you. What kind of things are you needing to support this new endeavor that we're doing with e-learning or online learning in this time when we're really experiencing the effects of COVID-19 and the national and worldwide pandemic that we're working through at this time? Before we dive in just a little bit, some things that are good reminders for all of us. Today was a great day in the district. We got all the technology out. Perhaps you are a parent and you have a student that needed the technology, or you were a part at one of our schools or a department. But one thing that I saw at the schools were the kids were so excited to see us, and they're really looking forward. They miss their teachers, and we know our teachers miss the students, and that they're not in our classrooms during this time. So remembering that our kids have had 1 week off for spring break, and that the days might get long for some of them and maybe for some of us. So really focusing on that relationship piece, making sure that they have that opportunity to connect with you, and they're excited to hear from you. I know a lot of our parents are as well. Lots of thank yous for what we're doing as a district. And I mentioned this at the end in our last session, and I truly mean this. There will be, give us a couple of days, and people will ask us about and ask you, how did you make all this work? And we're going to learn together, we're going to make mistakes together, and we're going to grow. But I guarantee people will ask, what did you do? And you guys will have all the answers for them. A couple of things, just be cautious of the workload that we're sending out for our kids. One guiding question is going to be, what are the most essential skills that our kids need to know? And, what is that balance of, am I sending not enough, or am I sending too much for our kids? And you'll work together with your PLCs, and you'll be able to balance that, but really be cautious on that workload. This week, get your platform going. How do kids log on and off? We're all in different places. Some of us are, you're teaching online classes, and others, we're just learning how to get into a platform, and how do we set up Google Hangout meetings. And so it doesn't matter wherever we're at, we'll make that work, and we'll bring everybody together. But just kind of keep in mind that we're going slow to go fast, and that we're in this together as one district, and it's okay to make a mistake, because we did that tonight for everybody. So with that, I'm going to turn that over for Nicole, and she's going to share just a couple of thoughts about that.
Good evening, Sweetwater One. Welcome, either the first, second, or maybe even third time for those of you that had the pleasure of being with us the very first time. First and foremost, I just want to thank our entire district for your perseverance, your positive attitudes, your willingness to continue to try. I know this can be frustrating. And I can't express enough how proud I am of our district and how thankful I am for the staff. I also want to say that today was absolutely amazing. The smiles on the family's face, the patients, the smiles on the kids' face, just the staff that are constantly emailing us and telling us they're willing to do whatever it takes. It was very humbling. So thank you guys. I just have a couple things to discuss, and then as questions come, if I need to come back and answer those, I'm happy to. There have been some leniencies put in place as pretty much the entire United States is trying to make a scramble effort to get online when that is not our traditional format. There are some things, though, that we need to be very cognizant of, and that one of them is FERPA and our policies and procedures. We need to make sure that when you're at home and you have all of these documents or you have your computer up and you're working on things, make sure that you lock it down where people that are not privileged to that information do not have access. Make sure that when you're working with students that you're able to go into an office or close a door so that if you need to have some conversations that probably don't need to be heard by everyone, that they remain confidential. Make sure that any papers or anything that you have lying out that they can be locked up. We still need to be very cognizant, if not more, as we're moving all of our lives and our work environment into the home, that privacy still stands. The other thing that I want to reiterate is there is absolutely no going into the homes to work with students. There is absolutely no meeting up with students at the library at any of our schools or having the students come to your homes to work with them. I know that this is like ripping the Band-Aid off, having to jump to this, and there's not going to be leniency and there's not going to be exceptions in that. We want to keep you safe. We want to keep your families safe. We don't want to put you at risk. We don't want to put our families and their children at risk. So please, 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 just stay online. I think that is, I think that's it. We will move it over to Stephanie now.
Hello again, everybody. The third time is a charm, correct? So I am just going to jump in and start answering questions because I see that we have a lot of them. One of the first ones, does the district know how many families are without Wi-Fi? We actually got a group, All West is supporting us by offering free and reduced students free internet. So we reached out to those families specifically and asked them to contact us if they need assistance with getting internet set up. So that's already in the works for a great deal of our families. Thank you so much to All West for their assistance with that. Casey, I saw that you said there was an issue with kids commenting on a video. If you'll do a help desk ticket on that, we will look into that and see if maybe there's a setting we need to change or if maybe there's a reason that we have that set up that way. The main goal here for me is to make sure that we get ideas and can prioritize a list for what everyone needs to know, what they want to know if they don't know how to get started. Using Google Hangouts from the baby steps all the way up to the recording and sharing that information out with your students. Sorry, I'm looking through my chat. Google Apps. Yep, I did that one already. So with Google Apps on the iPad, I think that some of them are already on there and we are working. I saw Carrie posted in the comments they were having issues with Hangouts. Please keep in mind that we just got all the devices out today. So we have our live support chat up and running, or we had that up and running this afternoon. We are doing help desk tickets. We have tech hotlines, so families can call the hotline that's associated with their school. If you go to sweetwater1.org and click on the technology support page, that's right there on the right-hand side under the COVID-19 link, everything that they would need is there to get them started for our families. We have the live chat feature. It's really a great resource. And as we get those frequently asked questions, we're going to be sure to continuously update that page with documents and videos and Googles. One thing I want to say for teaching and for copyright law, one thing that you guys want to be careful about is when you're recording a video, reading a book, or doing some type of a lesson that potentially could run into the copyright infringement, it's very important that that is just for a targeted audience. We can't put that out there like we are doing this video where it's live and anybody could come and see that. It needs to be something that can just be shared within our umbrella, within your online platform, whether that's Google Classroom, your Parent Square, or Google Hangouts. Okay, what is the extended time? Okay, sorry.
Tell them to quit answering each other.
All right, we just want to make sure that we get all of the questions. It looks like Google Meet came out to the iPads and it seems like it's working pretty well. That should still continue to work. There could potentially be issues with Zoom on the K6 machines. And Zoom, I'm a little leery of. That's not under our umbrella that we're controlling at this point. So, please just let us know how we can help you. We've all learned, I think, this week through Google Hangouts, and we've had tons of meetings.
Okay to use and what's not, what falls under the compliance.
Oh, so for the Google Hangouts, because that is under our umbrella, it's not like just a regular Google Hangout. That's under the district's SW1 umbrella. We are actually compliant within that because we control who's in there and we control who can access that. Okay. Best platform for counseling, I still think Google Hangouts would be great if you're working with a group of students, something that we covered in our SPED meeting that we had earlier. You can actually present and share your screen, and then you pin yourself to that screen so that on the student's computer, all they're really seeing is you and the information that you want them to see, so that it's not flipping through, bringing up student faces, because I know that's a concern that has come up in the past. That also has the ability for closed captioning for the students to turn that on and be able to read what's happening. There's a lot of options out there. You can record sessions maybe just by yourself and then have the students view them and independently go over with them what you went over in the session. There's a ton of options. The most important thing that I want to tell you from my department is this is new to so many people. And so if you have a lesson that you have always done a certain way and it's a great lesson, please just let us know what that looks like, and we will do our absolute best to find you a solution. If you can tell us the path that you are trying to get to the end of, we will find a means through technology to be able to help you with that. QuickTime, yep, QuickTime, Carrie, is a great way to record information and upload it quickly, depending on your home internet speed. Did I miss anything? Yes, Title I teachers, we can set up groups. So I set up groups today yesterday and the day before. We took all of our special education resource teachers, created parent square groups, and added all of the students that they were responsible for into those groups. We can absolutely create groups for our Title I teachers. For our EL students, we already have groups out there. If you are not aware of those, send me an email and I will be happy to make sure that you're in there so you can communicate with those families. I know Monica has been working in there quite a bit, getting information out there. If you are looking to get sites unblocked, please submit those through the normal channels with the click here for approval. We still have to do our due diligence and make sure that our students are safe. So if you want sites unblocked, go through the normal fashion and submit those for review.
Okay, is YouTube FERPA and HIPAA approved?
What type of information would you do, I guess? I wouldn't use YouTube for sessions with kids. Like, this is okay with the open questions, but as far as instruction, YouTube is out there for everyone. So that is not something that we would recommend. This is great for just the general Q&A, but if you're working with student stuff, yeah, don't use YouTube. Oh, your Google Drive. Yes, you guys could use your Google Drive to share information through that. Use your Google Drive. They could upload their videos into their Google Drive. We have unlimited access. So that is, again, under our umbrella and safe with our students' information. Oh, sorry.
It's right here, primary kids and interaction with their peers.
Oh, so right now you would have to facilitate that as a teacher. They can interact through email. And I think there's maybe certain applications that they can use, but we did block the ability for our students to start their own Google Hangouts because it wasn't blocked at one point. And yeah, it wasn't great. The look on Zach's face right now. So right now, our students cannot start a video or Google Hangouts just because that can potentially lead to a little bit of trouble.
If they want to add any apps or have things unblocked.
Yes, if you guys, I mean, yeah, everybody knows the normal channels. If you need apps or you're looking for something different, put in a help desk ticket. We'll be able to help you with that. I mean, asking for things to be unblocked and open and apps to be added right here is probably not the best platform because I will forget, but make sure you do your help desk tickets and we will get you taken care of. Just please be patient. My staff has a lot going on right now. They have been absolutely amazing this week. We've been incredibly busy.
Oh, read the question into the microphone before we.
Oh.
I had a question. About if you guys need to get more packets or papers to your students, if you can get those done and delivered. That's a good question. It's on our docket. The reality is right now we only know for these 3 days through next week. And at this time, we don't want anybody in the schools. We understand that there's going to be a need for things. And if this gets extended out, which there's a good chance that it could, that we are going to have to plan and arrange for different accommodations. Please watch for that information to come from your administrators, as we will be continually meeting with the administrators. We will be continually updating them with any information that we're receiving, and they will be getting all of that information out to you. And then, of course, between special education, Kelly's office, the HR office, and technology office, we will be communicating out to the district as well on pertinent information. So thank you for your patience. Those are really good questions. It puts it on our docket to take notes for. We understand there's going to be a need, and we'll make sure that we get with you guys on that as soon as possible.
Lori Fagler asked, what's the easiest platform to use for K1 to use to interact with one another and us? I think Google Hangouts is really pretty easy, especially if you have families that can initially help the students get going. The key thing, I think, the biggest struggle initially is going to be getting those students, those little kiddos, signed into their Google accounts. We've already had a ton of parents reach out today for assistance and passwords. So yeah, that's going to be our biggest thing to tackle. As far as Flipgrid, Trista, can you submit that through a help desk ticket?
Any of the personal requests that you guys are given as far as unblocking apps, adding apps, if you guys need classes that are created just for you, the best way to do that is to please put any individual needs into a help desk ticket so that the technology individuals can get that set up for you. They really are working around the clock. So thank you guys for the questions, but any individual needs that you're needing for your class or you're wanting, make sure that you put the help desk ticket in so that they have it on record to get back to you on that.
So what I'm identifying from these two sessions that we've done are we really need to create some of those Google Hangouts tutorials. One geared towards students and their families and one geared towards our staff so that you guys have that out there to review and refer to as you're working through this process. Also, I think a really great way to learn is to get in with some of your peers, your PLC group perhaps, and play with that, kind of how we've been doing for the last week when you share your screen and teach Superintendent McGovern how to do a calendar hangout. The other thing that we have to offer as far as support, and this is still a little bit bumpy, but we're working through it and we've used it quite a bit. We can remote into machines with like a remote support console that the district has. So we're able to use that. We can just send an email or a link and our families can jump in and we can help them with what they're working on. So the key thing for our families right now is get connected to the internet and get signed into Google. So remember, we have the tech hotline on the technology support page. Make sure you use the hotline for your school. If the tech doesn't answer, it goes straight to their voicemail, so they'll be able to get back to you. Does Jabber, okay.
Read the question.
So does Jabber work on the staff computers from home, or do we have to be on the server? Right now, Jabber only works in the district. So if you have, I don't know, I'm going, Zach. So if you have Jabber and you would like to use that, you'll need to do a help desk ticket for VPN access, which makes puts you basically virtually on the district's network, and then your Jabber will function at that time. You mentioned the last meeting. Oh, the parent, Jolene Levinson asked about Google Hangout for each class. We actually created parent square groups for those resource teachers. Richard Merrill, are we able to unblock Google Docs that are created out of district? I didn't realize that that was something we were doing. So submit a help desk ticket and we'll see what's going on there. Remember, as you share and create things, to use your district email. I can't tell you how many times I've created a doc and I've shared it through the share button with our staff, only to have folks try to request it with their personal email. Pay attention in that top right corner of your browser if you're using Chrome, and make sure that you're signed into your district account, because if you can't access, then that's probably the reason. I talked about that.
A great question, Lorna. Thank you for asking. There are quite a few district trainings and meetings that have been scheduled that are now canceled. Just like you guys, we are learning how to take this virtually and online. As far as the alternative scheduling task force, I am in the process of rescheduling those meetings for us to meet. There will be a special board meeting now that will be advertised for the end of April for that decision to be made so that we have a little more time. The state did give us permission for us to have virtual feedback, so that we do not have to have in-person meetings, but they're still holding that strong deadline, May 1st. I have most of those dates mapped out. I just have to get permission that they work, and then I will be sending those out. The same thing for policy committee. Policy committee will also be going virtual. I'll send out those links for everyone to log into. I'm still going to be pulling the policy committee for some half days, so I apologize ahead of time, but I promise it won't be a full day. And the other thing is the evaluation committee. The Chapter 21 rules were finally finalized and voted in, and the state evaluation system, they are wrapping up some things, so we have information on that, but I'll be pulling that committee together very soon as well. That was a really good question. Thank you.
Casey Walker, you asked, will the VPN for Jabber also allow us to back up our computers to the district servers? Yes, it does. Did you have something, Kel?
I just wanted to mention a couple things. Nicole talked about some of the task force and committees that we've got going in the district. I'm also getting asked questions about PLC trainings that we've got coming up in April for one of the cohorts, and then there's another one for the end of April. We're going to be checking in to those, and then as soon as we know if those are postponed or most likely just canceled, we'll make sure that we get that information out to everybody that's involved, because we've got representatives from almost all of our schools at the different cohorts. So as soon as we know that information, we'll make sure we get that out to you.
Okay, so remember that we are going to be building tutorials. A lot of them are going to be based off of the feedback initially that we're receiving from these live broadcasts, I guess. If you have any special requests, let me know. Shoot me an email. I promise I'll get to it as quickly as I possibly can. I should be able to be in front of my computer a little bit more the next few days. Finally, please, I cannot say it enough. Reach out if you want to do something, but you don't know where to start. That is what we're here for. If we can get our business office, bless their hearts, to start thinking about a little bit less paper, then I'm sure we can help everybody. Much love, Scott. I'm sure we can help everybody out there through this process.
So I bet there are some questions regarding special education and the delivery of general education curriculum and instruction and how we can appropriately give accommodations. So we're going to turn this over to Tiff and Casey.
Hello, everybody. With recent guidance, I know that there's been a lot out there, and equity was a big question between the gen ed and the special education. And we just recently got guidance, just actually on Sunday, of what that looks like. The guidance from Department of Education, along with WDE, states that we should not stop servicing students just because we're scared of the equity piece, that we need to attempt those services. So in good faith effort, we need to provide those services in order for them to continue with growth and skills and everything else. So we do need to do that. It doesn't mean your service times will look any different than what they are, because they will. It's not the same. They're at home, and a lot of our kids have service minutes that are up to 700 minutes a day. So it's not going to be that way, but we need to show in good faith effort that we are providing the service. The service minutes do not need to be the same. So don't worry about that. We just want to make sure we're still giving that service, whether it's a related service, speech, OT, PT, vision and hearing, things like that. But we just want to make sure that they're still getting that. So I have recently sent out guidance, and I know the principals also have the guidance from Department of Ed. If there's any questions, you can always reach out to us. Another question with services is also accommodations. What does that look like with what we're doing now? And a lot of the accommodations can be provided through technology. We can still utilize speech to text, text to speech, things like that, because it's on every district computer, so they still have access. Google Hangouts and some of the other platforms, they also have options on them for captions. So if you have note taking, things like that, those are also a part of those. So we can look into ways we can support that for those accommodation pieces. I know a question is paras and the utilization of them for those accommodations, and we are looking into that. This first week or so, we want to get your feet wet. We want to get you in with those kids so they're feeling safe again. They're building that relationship, because they're just as scared as everybody else right now. This is change. So right now it may look different. So we do want to reevaluate what that para support will look like. But what we do ask is that you, as a gen ed teacher, you work with a special ed teacher on how those accommodations can be delivered through that general education platform or whatever instruction you're giving. Work on what that can look like. Again, we do have ways that we can support you with those accommodations through assistive technology and through the platforms we're using. So please reach out to us. We can help you with that as well.
We had some questions on 504s. The questions on the IEPs and 504s come down to a civil rights issue, and the federal government, our state, everyone is working with us, and they've basically given us the guidance of do whatever we're able to with the technology and programs and apps that we have available to us. As far as extended time, that actually could go for IEPs and 504s. And a lot of them say on 504s, especially when students request. I think that one thing that we need to be very careful about is we need to be as proactive as possible. This is new and scary to a lot of the kids too. And so one thing that I would suggest is those students that are on a 504 IEP, if they have those kind of accommodations that say request or upon request, be proactive and maybe message them and just say, hey, this is how you can get a hold of me if you need extra time on an assignment. If you need to, taking tests in separate environments is, I guess that's already happening. Um, but I would be proactive and reach out to them and just let them know how they can get a hold of you the most efficient way in order to request those accommodations. That way, if you guys are in a chat with a classroom, they're not having to do that on a feed within the class. So again, be proactive, reach out, let them know the best way to get a hold of you individually so that if they need to request accommodations, they're able to.
So if you, and I want to piggyback off what Nicole stated as well, if you don't have those accommodations and what they look like, please reach out to us or the special ed staff at your building, the teacher record. We can scan those electronically to you so it does not bind the FERPA confidentiality issues. They will be on your database, so they will be secure. So please reach out so that we can get you those accommodations for those individual students in your classes.
Rhonda, thank you. I appreciate, I want to just give a shout out to Rhonda altogether. She has done so much work on her own, going above and beyond, reaching out to give resources to teachers. So, I mean, there's shout outs to give to everyone, but Rhonda, thank you so much for you being so proactive and available to all of our teachers and staff to help them when they have questions.
One final comment. We're going to get ready to close here in just a minute or two. If these are helpful, let us know. We're happy to put these together and just give people an opportunity to ask questions from one another. We're watching the chats as they're going down on the side. And I think one thing, we're learning from each other. Lean on your PLCs, work together, learn from your grade levels, your departments. We can make this work. We see humor in the chats going on the side. We need one another, especially during this time. We need each other every day. On the videos, Deborah, you had a question about how do we assess the videos. We're going to open those up, so they're going to be for public information. So you can go back and review. If there's a question on there, we're going to have those so anyone can view. But if these are helpful for you, let us know. We're willing to do whatever we need to do to make everybody learn and grow. We're going to make mistakes, and that's okay. We'll get through all of it, but we'll get through it together. And I think, Sweetwater #1 really is #1. And I know other districts are going to be asking you guys, how did you pull this off? How did you make it work? And it's really the people that make the difference for it. So we just want to tell you thank you for everything that you're doing, for all the work that you're putting in. And our students miss you. And they want to see you, and they wish that they could be with you. And so with that, we hope everybody has a great evening. Stay safe, everybody, and please stay healthy. Thank you.